How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to a guide on Gear Raid 5, aka Gear Dungeon 2. I'm very excited to share this with you guys. 100% free-to-play friendly, epics only. We are going to beat Gear Dungeon 2 Stage 4, Gear Raid 5-4. So it's this one over here. Epics only, very easily will work Stage 1 through 3. For Stage 4, we're bringing very good gear, but as you're going to see, it is 100% epics only. But the point of this guide, let me make myself really big so everyone can hear this. The point of this guide is to show all of you the strategy, because using any legendaries at all, like even just using Volca, this becomes so much easier. You can use way worse gear and artifacts. Absolutely everyone, there's no reason to be scared of this stage at all. You absolutely can beat it Stage 4 and lower. So Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, Stage 4 of Gear Raid 5, of Gear Dungeon 2, you can do it, okay? So I'm using great gear, I'm using good artifacts, swap in a couple legendaries, you're off to the races. You can get away with a lot worse. For Stage 5 and Stage 6, I do not think you can do all epics. I sincerely do not think it's possible. I have not even attempted it. It's very hard to do it with legendaries to begin with. I'll try to find more accessible strategies for 5 and 6, with some legendaries. That will come out probably tomorrow or the next day. But right now, I want to focus on where most people will hit their ceiling, and that's going to be Stage 4. It's a huge difficulty jump, and quite frankly, the mechanics of the stage change tremendously, because as you're going to see, a big feature of this content is Volca makes clones of herself, and the clones, starting on Stage 3 and 4 when they come, they are immune to a certain kind of damage. So the kinds of damage they are immune to are completely consistent for Stage 3 and Stage 4. You have certain ones that are always immune to magic damage, certain ones that are always immune to physical damage. Starting on Stage 5, they start mixing it up, so the same lane will get different kinds of clones. At Stage 6, it goes crazy, so the amount of cycling and techniques that's needed is very difficult. I've already beaten it. You guys can go watch my live clear. I did that on YouTube on a live stream. Very exciting. Took a lot of effort and a lot of really good heroes. But up to Stage 4, you can get away with exactly this strategy. As I place units, I will tell you who you could immediately swap in for those units to make your life easier if you want to use legendary heroes and you're not just doing some kind of free-to-play, accessible challenge.
Fastidious.
So without further ado, you can see Power of Dominance has been disabled. Let me make myself way smaller once again. Let's go over here and let's head into battle. So I think most people, the vast majority of people, will run a Nightmare comp and a Northerner comp, and that is true from Stage 1 to Stage 6. The most meta comps for Stage 6 will still heavily feature Valeria, will heavily feature Nocturne, who as a Northerner. So these are key kind of factions. I think the vast majority of players will go for this. As you can see, we're bringing 2 Nightmare units over here. Really, we could get away with just not doing it at all. The Northerner team you really need. So the big star DPS for us here is going to be Estrid. Then we also have Imani, we have Maul. Those are the 3 main guys that we are using. Wrath will do a little work at the beginning. Up through Stage 3, you don't need to use Wrath at all. I'll explain why for Stage 4 we need him. It will become really clear when you see it. But, you can immediately swap in a lot better units. If you have Arrogance, put that in for your Estrid. If you have Nyx, put that in for your Maul. There's so many options. If you have Silas, do that. That single target would be good enough. There's a lot of stuff you can do, guys. And certainly for Imani, if you want to do Nocturne or Hex is like the best for it. Alistair, even Seraphina, these are all better options. Without further ado, let's get into the battle. Let's get after this. It's a pretty tight comp, so I'm going to focus really hard. Hopefully we get it on our first try. Let's get in there. I'll show the gear and all the builds, all the artifacts at the very end, but we're using quite good stuff. So without further ado, first thing you're going to do is place Maul, then we're going to place Hollow. Hollow's in an Invig set, so now Maul has Invig. That will help. And now we're going to wait until it's at 27 cost. I'm just realizing, am I in the way of where Estrid's going to go? No, I'm not. So we're at 27 cost. I'm going to place Wrath. Since he has an auto ult, I've timed it out. That's the perfect amount of time you need. The reason we're placing Wrath is when he's ulting, he'll be healing. He's also in a, I was going to say he's in a Lunacy Visor, but no, he's in a Wailing Skull. You could use him in a Lunacy Visor, but he gets enough self-healing from his ultimate. He's going to take out this first, I forget what the name of this mob is, but it's very pesky, especially on the higher stages, the Tormented Banshee. And you'll see, starting on Stage 4, it gets an effect called Death Whisper 3. this turns this, once you kill the Spectre, it turns them into like a ghost. And after a certain amount of time, I believe it's like 8 seconds or 12 seconds, here it says, it's going to deal huge damage to all surrounding 2 tiles, like a 2-tile radius and a circle around it. And it's 100% fatal damage. So the only way to survive that is to kill and then pick up whoever got the kill, is to push away using someone like Maul or Edith, or to use someone like Brokir or Baron, you know, that has unkillable when they die. So we're going to do, first off, we're just going to use Wrath, and then we'll pick him up, and you'll get to see that explosion. The explosion range is huge, because it's a 2-tile radius, but in a big circle all around, so you need to be very careful. So that's Wrath's entire job. We're never going to deploy him again after this. So as you're going to see, ready to go, there's Wrath. I'm already going to play some Mani. She'll go over here. Like I said, you don't really change lanes, so this lane over here is always going to have the clone of Volca that is immune to magic damage and needs to take physical damage, and that's the purple Volca clone. And this here in the middle lane, that's going to be the physical damage immune clone that needs magic damage. So that's the red Volca clone. So that's why we need a Mani here, and as you see, we're going to put Estrid here. Now focus on Wrath. He's going to take care of this fool over here. You can see we just summoned the little shadow spirit, the Komodo. As soon as it dies, you see now it's the Spectre, and this circle that's coming off, any tiles that it's touching even a little bit will be insta-fatal damage. So if I put my Vortex here, he would die. So we're going to put Vortex here, place him down, and you'll see that's why I placed Imani already, because now she got Invig from Vortex. For the specific strategy I'm doing with Imani, since she's not that strong, especially since we can't cycle her in and out, absolutely I needed the Invig buff on her. As soon as Estrid's ready, we're going to place her down over there, and then we're instantly going to trigger Hollow just to make sure Estrid's ready as early as possible. Now we can kind of settle in here. You can see this is right here the red Volca clone. So red means that it is physical damage immune. That's also what the full shield means. The other one has like a little circle on the shield, and it's purple. That means it's magic damage immune. So this one, like if I was to do damage with Estrid, it wouldn't work well at all. So what we're going to do, we have a Mani ready there, and now we're going to place our tank, which will be Isolde. She can go right there. And now I'm going to focus on this bottom lane. As soon as I can, as soon as it comes in range, we can trigger the ult with Imani. But an important thing with this Imani build is we actually don't need the ult. She puts out enough damage with her basic attacks to kill this red Volca clone, the physical damage immune clone, the one that needs magic damage. And you do have a full minute to kill it, which is not so much time, but it's enough time that a decent build, especially on a legendary hero, you can get away with a lot. You actually don't need as much DPS for these stages as you think. The DPS check is far lower than Gear Dungeon 1, aka Gear Raid 4. As soon as these guys get into Maul's range, we're going to we're going to push back, and now we can place Baron. You'll see Baron is right outside the range, excuse me. Baron's right outside the range of Hollow. Doesn't matter. We'll get enough shields that he'll be able to last for the first like 2/3 of the fight that we need him going. Just make sure you keep an eye, the part that we actually need him for, just keep an eye on him and make sure you trigger the shields when you need to. Otherwise, you're going to be in big trouble. As you can see, Imani took care of that, no problem. We actually don't need to trigger her ult ever again. We're kind of A-okay. We wait. I'm not even going to trigger the ult with Estrid right now. Again, she'll have a full minute. You always have a minute to kill the clones. We're much more worried about these guys, because these guys, since we're not putting anyone over here to kill them, there is a strategy, and you basically need to do that for stage 5 and absolutely stage 6. You'll put someone here, usually a marksman with an Ichor's Chalice to give them some self-healing. Hatssut is best in slot by a mile, but for stage 4, we don't need to do it, but they're going to split, so it'll be 8 people. Over here, we have 7 block. It's not enough, so we need to make sure we're always ulting with Estrid so she can pick them off when they're going. She actually has no problem with the boss. It's these guys. They are our chief focus. Perfect example here, moving down to Baron. He's taking a little damage, even though those guys are about to die. Perfect time to trigger the shield. And we can kind of focus up now. We'll trigger Maul. Why not? Just pick those guys off. Doesn't matter. We're not going to trigger Hollow yet. Basically, Hollow's there specific. She helps Maul. You know, she helps everyone in range. Maul, Vortex, Avalon, and Estrid. But she's really there for Estrid. So let's focus on Estrid now. That's the key part. This key next chapter of this comp. You can see she's handling the boss, the clone of the Volca, I should say, the purple one. See, he has a little circle in it. That's how you know it's magic damage, immune, and needs physical damage. She handles it fine. Doesn't need an ult. Kills it with plenty of time to spare. We're worried about these guys up here on the top right. So let's wait. And I'll tell you, I've got some good visual indicators on when to trigger. Took me a while to figure it out, because it's tough with Estrid. This is a 1,000 cost skill over here. Quite annoying. As soon as these guys start marching, when they pass this square, you see this third square? That's when, right here, that's when you want to trigger Estrid. That will give you just enough time that she's still ulting, but not ulting the whole time. So she kills a couple people, so then we have enough block between Avalon and Estrid that we can get it going, but doesn't kill them all so quickly that they're all dead and she doesn't have anyone to keep hitting and build rage. It's a big balancing act, but if you do it right about there, that should give you enough cycling to make it to the end of the battle. As soon as you ult with Estrid, it's time to ult with Hollow, so now we can get some more so we can already start building up more rage towards her next ult. It's kind of a huge cycle here. Let's see. And you'll see she's still ulting towards the end, but she hits so hard, it's fine. For those of you saying, oh, I don't have Estrid, what do? You don't freaking need Estrid. So like I said, maybe this is the perfect time. We'll wait till we get that kill, and I'll explain all the great substitutions. There you go. She's picked off enough, killed enough that now we have plenty block. We take care of it, and now she can already keep hitting and start building rage for this next cycle. We've got 2 more cycles to worry about. So let's talk about substitutions. We already talked about Imani, right? Hex would be the best there is. Nocturne's great. Alistair's great. When it comes to stage 6 specifically, you will need 2 single target magic DPS. So like I put Hex here and then Nocturne down here. But for this stage, you can get away with 1. So I'd say better than Imani would be Hex, would be Seraphina, would be Alistair, would be Nocturne. Those would be the big 4 legendaries. Of course, someone like Soul Cadens, if you have him, that would be great. Maybe you could even use a Twin Fiend or a Pyros. I'm not sure. And then for other epics, you could try Navros, you could try Azoth, but I think of the epics, Imani's the best. She's got really nice base stats, and she just works really well. It's a nice kit, even if you're not using a redeploy strat with her. For Estrid, a lot of you are going to say, oh, Estrid's so rare, I don't have her. Absin would be better. Arrogance obviously would be better. Ardia would be the best if you've got her. Valkyria can do this whole lane by herself if you've got... excuse me, not Valkyria, my mistake. Valeria. Valkyria, bad choice, because you need magic damage, doesn't work. Valeria, I get my Vals confused. Valeria is amazing. I use Valeria on stage 6. These are all excellent options, right? So basically anyone that has 2 tile range, you might be wondering why Valeria. Well, first off, she kills them so fast it doesn't matter. And also when she ults, she gets 2 tile range. Lugaru is another thing. Anyone that has more than 1 tile range and does physical damage, any legendary basically would be better. I will say Estrid's very good. She puts out defense down, so she puts out a defense break. And absolutely, she also does some AoE. So especially if you have Estrid with some Awakening, she works very easily. You can see she kills with plenty of time to spare. But don't think because you don't have Estrid, it doesn't work. You know who's an amazing option, 100% free to play? Volca would be even better. Especially after the buff, just use Volca, and then you can cycle better, especially for the later stages. Volca works there perfectly, right? Plenty of options. For the bottom, for Maul, if you have like another physical fighter with multi-tile range, like if you had someone you could put here, like Arrogance or Absin, Admiral Claw, all of these would work really well. Ardia is the best for the bottom in the whole game, in my opinion. These all absolutely work. Or you could use someone like Maul, or you could use Razak, or you could use Nyx if you want to use someone on the platform. These are all options. So, and I will say for the tanks, for your defenders, it's not even close how much easier this would all be if you use legendary defenders. Especially for the higher stages, I don't know if you can get away with too many epic defenders, especially on the bottom here and on the left here, because the damage is a lot. It's much easier to build those legendary defenders. Basically, anyone works. Even an Azor would probably work better than Baron here, aside from the unkillable thing, which we're actually not really going to take advantage of too much in this strategy. All right, back to what we're actually doing. Back to the task at hand. Let's focus in. As you can see, Estrid didn't kill them all. She's building rage. Just beautiful. We wait. If you guys want to know the Maul range, as soon as these back guys are kind of touching this line, that's when you can already trigger with Maul. You can trigger with Hollow now, that will help Estrid. And there you go, that's that 3rd tile, perfect timing. We trigger with Estrid, it'll work out great. We can trigger with Imani now, we don't have to, but we can just help clean up this lane a little faster. Let's trigger with Baron before he dies. This is the last group that Baron has to kill before the next explodey guy, the Banshee. So we're good. See, Estrid did a great job. She killed all those big mobs. So now she can focus on the boss and everybody else. So here's the Banshee guy. Basically, we just got to make sure we kill him fast enough that Baron doesn't die first, because we don't want to waste Baron's unkillable, the unyielding. As soon as we can, we'll ult with Maul. Great. That should be enough for the Banshee. And now this is why we brought Olag. We're going to cycle in a second tank. All right, let's trigger here with Hollow. Let's trigger with Estrid. So there you go, the Banshee's getting ready to explode. It's doing that aura. No reason not to leave Baron down. You can see we have plenty of cost. Don't get worried about picking him up. You can just leave him down as much as possible. Let's wait for that explosion. Trigger the ult even. There we go. There's the explosion. Now we can pick him up. Let's go. Get a little pushback. And we got to kill these guys on the bottom as soon as possible. Make sure to put Olog here and not here, because we need to make sure these guys are at least a tile away from Maul to take advantage of the artifact. You'll see he's in a sharpshooter's crest. And now we're kind of cruising. This is the end of the fight. I'm really happy we got on our first try. 2x this. Yeah, I can do this full unedited. Let's get Amani going. Beautiful. Might as well trigger Vortex. We're good to go. We are good to go. So we'll get Hollow going. Now we can trigger with Maul. We can trigger with Estrid as soon as she's ready, and the fight will be over. So it's really not too hard, especially once you bring in your legendary heroes, especially if you bring like Volca. She makes this whole thing much easier. You can use her in Estrid's spot. There's so many easy, common legendaries you can swap in and do this so comfortably. So there's really no excuse if you have an account that's somewhat advanced at all. If you're late game at all, there's no excuse not to beat stage 4. Do not be scared, okay? So this is just a general guide on how to progress. I will say for stage 1 and stage 2, they are far, far easier. And I'll show you why. I'll show you the map. So very quickly, if we go here to stage 4, you can see we have this portal in the middle. This is the Isolde Amani lane we were doing in the middle. Stage 2, you don't even have to deal with that. So you could ignore the Isolde deploy entirely. You could have Amani there if you want to help pick off damage. You don't really need it. You could put like Theo in or anyone with physical damage down here to help. The whole thing becomes much easier. There's no special magic stuff you need going on. That is not introduced until stage 3. That's kind of the beauty of it, guys. Not much more you need to know. Things rev up a bunch in stage 5. And in stage 6, but I will say the big thing comes to the cyclings, balancing your DPS with HP, but actually the DPS thresholds are not what you think they are, and I'll prove that when I beat stage 6 tomorrow, and I'll make a guide on my account when it comes out, and I'll make a guide for that as soon as I can. But this is a general guide, a free-to-play guide, Epics only. I hope it helps tons and tons of people. I'm very excited to release it. Let me know if it helped you in the comments. I really want to see as many people as possible beating stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And look at that. You don't need nothing. So let's show you the builds really quickly. We'll hop in. The builds absolutely are good, but you certainly don't need builds this good when you bring lesser heroes. We went Soulbound Arcana and Warlord on Estrid. Here are the stats. Oh my god, the game is freezing. Lots of attack. Estrid's really easy to build. She's got really nice base stats. She totally works. Glad to give her a little shine here. Potentially Rourke could even work. There she's in a Wailing Skull. Let's go to Maul now. He's in a Sharpshooter's Crest. We went Infernal Roar. Soulbound Arcana would be even better, probably. Actually, definitely. But you could get away, certainly, with like a Wisdom set if you're bringing like a Legendary Lord, or for the early stages. You do not need this gear again. And if you had like Nyx, you wouldn't need a build like this at all. There you go. Nearly crit capped. Good crit damage. Good attack speed. On to Amani. For this specific thing, to get Amani to be able to kill that second one without ulting, we definitely needed that max out tier Twilight. Infernal Roar is solid, especially since she's like always using basic attack, since we're not really ulting with her. It works well. Amani's suboptimal. Hex, way better. Nocturne, way better. You know the list. It goes on. It goes on. Now let's go to Vortex. He's in the Euphoric Orb. This build, you could have gotten away with way, way worse. All that matters, decent amount of HP, decent amount of attack speed, and put him in Invig. Those are the key things there. Also, if you have, let's talk about the healers. Elwyn, the best in the game by far for this, because you can kind of heal in 2 spots. Elwyn's actually the only healer I use for stage 6, but here, very comfortably, you can use 2. So you could use Elwyn on the bottom, Hollow in Vortex's spot. You could bring a lot of things. I think Gwendolyn even could work well with her shields. The Sondai could work. A lot of things could work on the bottom specifically. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility. Here's Hollow, going for that kind of guild bossy build. Just really high rage regen, high attack speed. The Invig is a key thing there. For Artifact, you'll see we went for Elysian Epitaph for some extra heals. Wrath is in far better a build than we ever need, but I did this on purpose because I moved his left side gear over to Amani to get her attack higher, and then I saw that he worked even in this build, so I wanted to prove it. You don't need much, guys. You can get away with a lot less, especially for him. He heals himself up. It's A-okay. And then for the Artifact, we went for a Wailing Skull. Avalyn, as you're going to see, we have her only at Awaken 3. The ones that weren't already A5, I tried not to bring them up too high. Just high HP, high defense, nothing too special. Definitely Bastion Ring's great for her. Does not need to be maxed out. You could see she barely took any damage. Same thing for Baron. He needs a Bastion Ring for this specific strategy, but does not need to be maxed out. He was kind of A-okay. We ran him in a morale set. I just wanted to show that off. So everyone got an extra 4% damage. Why not? It's a cool set to run. Same exact build. Same thing for Olag, not that he mattered. Broken set here. We just went for the HP and the defense. You get the picture. You get the picture. Again, the Bastion Ring does not need to be maxed out. And then here we went North's Will on a Solda. Broken set, HP and defense. You see the pattern. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope this helps all of you. Do not be discouraged because you say, oh, I don't have that gear. Oh, I don't have that specific hero. Swap in whatever legendaries you got. Bring in your Volca. If you got Hex, if you got Nocturne, bring them in. Use your Arrogance if you have them. Use your Ardia. Don't be afraid. Bring Eluin, you know. There's tons and tons of stuff you can do. Faircy would be a much better option than Vortex here, right? We didn't need those shields. So you can really do a lot of cool stuff. Also, I could also say on the top, you could be using Valkyra. You could put her like behind. You could move a Solde up one to the right, but her behind. There's a lot of options. A lot of options. The DPS requirements aren't too high, especially when you move into the legendary heroes with far higher base stats. There you have it. I've been Fastidious, an official free-to-play guide for Gear Raid 5, aka the Gear Dungeon numero dos. Share with your mother. I'll see you guys real soon.
Fastidious.
I've had to cough the whole frickin' time.